Harold, and he's going to talk a little bit about what it's like when he hears things from people, how he works with them to meet their needs and move them forward. So Harold, are you there?
I am there. I am here. Thank you, Becca. Yes, everyone, I'm excited to be here and share with you all. And my name is Harold Prestenbach. I am an integrated presidential director, and I am hoping to help you guys get more comfortable with the invite, but also on how to deal with some of the most common objections that we come across. But first, I think it's really important for us to really understand why we are on the call in the first place. And it's not to sell them. It's not to close them. There's no urgency there. I want you guys to understand that we're there to contend for their why, okay? Most of the people that's on this call, as you're taking them through the process of awakening them and sharing what we have, the solution that we have, they're gonna have some lack of expectancy or lack of belief that they're able to do this. So our goal is to really believe in them before they believe in themselves and keep the focus on contending for their why. So as we move into the invite, I want you to remember that you went through probably 25, 35 minutes or longer on peeling that onion and getting to what their problem is and helping them realize that we have the solution. So you want to be confident and be professional, because that's what professionals do, is they recommend a solution to people's problems. So as you get people into that emotional part of their brain, I think the worst thing you could do in the invite is ask them, what do you think? Because what happens is you just spent a lot of time getting them believing that this is going to happen, that there's a chance that this is the solution for them, and that you're tapped into that emotional part. So when you say, what do you think? You're going to switch them into that analytical side of their brain. And when you do that, you know what they're going to think? They're going to think, well, I've failed 5, 6 other times. Why is this going to be different? What is my spouse going to say? He's going to say I'm crazy. What do I think? I think that maybe we don't have this in the budget to do this right now. So you really want to stay away from that. So what I would do is just keep it really simple. And I would just be like, well, Jan, based off of what we spoke about today, and based off of your goals of X, Y, and Z, I repeat their goals back to them that I wrote down on the health assessment. I would recommend our Essentials Kit as a solution. Are you ready to get started? And then pause. Pause. Give them time to digest and respond. Oftentimes we'll ask that question and we almost talk them out of it. We almost get them back into that analytical side of their brain. So when you get to this point, you're going to come now to a lot of common objections. So as we come to these objections, I don't look at them as objections. I look at them as smokescreen. And some of the most common objections or smokescreen that I think a lot of you probably get often is cost. A lot of us, when we get to this point, you're going to get, well, I thought it was going to cost a lot of money. I didn't think it was going to cost this much, or it's a little too expensive, or it's a little bit out of my budget. So what I would say is what we're trying to do here is we're trying to close the gap, okay? I'm not trying to sell them. Remember, I'm contending for their why right now. They're just getting a little scarce. They're getting a little bit lack of belief is starting to kick back in because now it's coming to a point to where they need to make a decision. So what I'm doing is contending for their why. So if they say that, I agree with them. I want to have empathy with them. So I would say, well, I understand that, Jan. And actually, many people have felt that way before starting. So I imply that many people have that feeling and it's okay, but I also imply or plant the seed that before they got started, okay? So at that point, I'll ask them, basically, if money wasn't an issue, would you still want to get started? Do you still see this as a solution? The reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to figure out what the true objection is. Because a lot of times they'll throw out cost and it's really not the real objection. So that question sometimes will get a little more clearer on what we're contending against, okay? And then the last question, if it still is cost, I'll ask them, so if cost is an issue, I would say, well, you mind if I ask, how far off are we? The program's $400, because here's the reality. People are coming into this knowing that a transaction is going to happen. they have in the back of their mind a arbitrary budget of what they're probably allowed to spend in the household or what they're willing to spend. We need to find out what that number is. So a lot of times people, they might say, oh, well, I was expecting to spend $200, $250. Well, great. Now we just closed the gap, and we're not only contending for their why, but we're contending against $150, not $400. And then you can get creative, and there's some tactics in that, but for another call. So another most common one is, I need to talk with spouse. This one's really simple. Again, I'm just really asking questions back as they ask questions to me. And I'm always going with empathy. So if they say I need to talk with the spouse, I would just say, I understand and I agree. But I'm curious, what do you think they're going to say? And what that does is, again, it gets to potentially the true objection, because a lot of these can be smokescreens. It's just excuses because they're starting to have that lack of belief and self-doubt, okay? And then when they do say, some of the true objections will come out. They may say, well, you know, my husband says that he'll probably say that I've done this 2-3 times before. Why is this going to be different? And then you can walk them through how to handle that, okay? Or the true objection comes up, all right? So the last one that I'd like to speak on is need more info. I'm sure you guys get this one just as equally as much as the cost and the spouse. And it's really simple to do. So what I do is I take the blame. So when they say, everything was great, I just need a little more info, this is what I do. Oh, I'm sorry, Jan. I must have not done a very good job at explaining the 4 components. What exactly is it that you need more info on? Because odds are we did a great job of explaining each component. We did a great job of awakening and getting their why. They're, again, just trying to smokescreen or kind of skate around it. Okay, so then a true objection will come up again, and then we get to handle that. So if you see on each one of these bullets, all we're trying to do is close the gap and identify what the true objection is. And the last thing that I want to say is, because I know some of you new, been around for a while, you probably have some reservations, and you may be thinking when you get to this point, and you may think, who am I? Who am I to let this person know that they can lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds when I've still got 50 pounds to lose? Well, I would just say that that's a limited way to look at it, okay? That's a limited way to look at it, because do you know someone who's reached optimal health? And if you do, there's a high chance that you do, and that's value. And you have access to an opportunity to offer people. So I hope this helps, and thank you.